On this paper is the script for today's video. Well, correct, it's a reference for the video. But yeah, what's up, everybody? It is Mars Sports, and today, as you see in the title, we are making starting quarterback predictions for the 2025-2026 season for the NFL. If this video gets enough likes, I'll attempt to do college football starting quarterback predictions. Because man, that's gonna be really hard because there's 136 teams at that point. But yeah. Yes, I'm including Missouri State and Delaware. Anyways, but today we're gonna do NFL quarterback predictions. This is the prime time of the year to do it because no big moves have been made yet. At the same time, free agency's coming up very soon, so we're just gonna go at it. So let's do this. So I have all 32 teams here, and we're gonna predict every single freaking starting quarterback this year. Until we get them right. Now, most of these I'll get correct because obviously, like, Mahomes is going to start for the Chiefs. Burrow's going to start for the Bengals. Um, yeah. Um, but like the ones I'm most intrigued to see if I get correct are the ones that are like questions on like who's going to be quarterbacks. Yeah. But anyways, let's do this. So I got all 32 teams. We'll go by division. So let's do this. So NFC South. Let's start with the NFC South. There's three teams I dislike, one team I like on here. I'm sure y'all, if y'all watched for a while, y'all can assume which one's the one I like. But yeah, anyways, starting off, the Falcons, I think they will stick with Michael Penix to be the permanent starter. I mean, they drafted him like eighth overall, seventh or eighth overall, something like that. The Kirk Cousins experiment did not work out for them, so they got Michael Penix in the back. They've already been starting him for the last few games last season, so I think Penix will wind up being the starter there. He's young, he's got a lot of potential, and he was really good at Washington. So yeah. We'll see what he can do for next year, and we'll see if the Falcons improve. Hopefully not, because I'm a Saints fan. That would suck if the Falcons went to the playoffs over us. For the Bucks, I'm going Baker Mayfield. He's a really good quarterback. I mean, he's I'd even argue if he had less interceptions last year, he could have been in the talk for MVP last year. I think Baker Mayfield will be in the talk for MVP. I think Baker Mayfield, sorry, I think Baker Mayfield will be in talk to be the potential MVP for next year. I think he'll be in the conversation. I think this he's really redeemed his career out of Tampa Bay. So yeah, and Mike Evans returning, I believe. Yeah, and some other, and they might get a wide receiver at the draft. We'll see. So yeah, like they could get like I don't know Isaiah Bond or something. I don't know. We'll see. Panthers, I'll do mock draft videos eventually. This before the draft. Panthers, I think they'll stick with Bryce Young as their starter. I think he showed some signs of improvement last year after he got benched for Andy Dalton at points. I think Dave Canales was put into a really bad situation. So that's part of the reason why the team wasn't so good last year. It's not really his fault, to be honest with you. Just that team's been a disaster the last few years, but they've been slowly improving. Yeah, but I think Bryce Young will end up being a starter. I think he'll develop a little bit more. No, the Saints, my favorite team. So there's some questions around quarterback. First of all, Kellen Moore is the new head coach now, which I'm very excited about and very optimistic that he'll do really good. So, by the way, if y'all don't know, Kellen Moore, he was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, and that offense is really good. Yeah, but maybe that means the Saints will have to tush push. I just realized that. Yeah, there's that. There are a lot of questions with who's gonna be at quarterback. You got Derek Carr, who's on a big contract, but they could trade him or something to like the Jets, is the rumor. And there's also potential that it could be like Sam Darnold. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I don't think that's gonna happen though. Um, it could be like who else? Justin Fields or something, or even maybe we'll get someone out of the draft. But the QB draft class, there's only like two potential elite quarterbacks in the draft. That's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, but who knows what could happen? Um, yeah, Saints could draft the quarterback if they really want to, but their options at the point like Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. I mean, those are pretty good quarterbacks, but like they're not like elite, in my opinion. They're pretty good, but like, yeah, yeah. But Derek Carr, he might get traded. There's rumors he could go to the Jets, be Aaron Rodgers' replacement. We'll see. Um, it could be Justin Fields. You never know. There's also maybe even Aaron Rodgers winds up. I doubt that's going to happen, but Aaron Rodgers could wind up in New Orleans somehow. Yeah, but my prediction for the Saints, I actually think that the Saints are going to stick with Derek Carr for at least one more year. Derek Carr, a lot of the team's flaws last year were not his fault. Like most, yeah, the only thing that really worries me about Derek Carr is he gets injured a lot. And to be fair, during that Giants game, he injured himself for jumping too high. So that's Taysom Hill stuff. Although I don't know if Taysom Hill's return next year, which that would suck if he's not returning. But Taysom Hill becomes a free agent. The Broncos are going to snatch him in a heartbeat, I bet. Yeah, but Derek Carr, I think Derek Carr is actually has puts up some pretty good stats. It's just last year the injury bug. It wasn't just him, it was the whole team. That's why the team sucked last year. Because like if you think about the first two games, they're really good. That's with the fully healthy team. Could you imagine with a new head coach who's an offensive Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator who literally taking over the team? The Saints might score 70. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. But if they're fully healthy. But I think Derek Carr will stay. He's just got to stay healthy. That's the only thing. And I think Derek Carr is a solid quarterback. He's probably like a 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5. I don't know. He's a solid starter. He could get you to the playoffs, but if you give him a good enough team to surround him, and he had a good enough team to surround him at the beginning of the season until they all got injured. So yeah, but I think Derek Carr will be the starter. Although there are some concerns with the offensive and defensive coordinators. Um, well, I don't know, not necessarily about concern, but there's more like questions at that point because both Clint Kubiak and Joe Woods all left. Kubiak went to the Seahawks and Joe Woodley went to the Raiders. Brandon Staley's the defensive coordinator now for the Saints, which that could be good. I mean, he's the former head coach for the Chargers, so maybe, and he actually went to the playoffs with the Chargers. So yeah, and then you have offensive coordinator. I'm actually really excited for this to happen. But Doug Nussmeier is now the offensive coordinator, who's, by the way, is Garrett Nussmeier's dad, who's the quarterback for LSU. So go Tigers. Yeah, so that would be really cool. Maybe Derek Carr over there. And I actually think I have a prediction. I think the Saints might wait on Derek. I think the Saints are going to wait on Derek, give Derek Carr another year. And I think they might try to go after Garrett Nussmeier in the draft next year. Because Nussmeier is one of the Heisman favorites for next year because the LSU stuff. I mean, Joe Burrow and Jay Daniels won their second year. Again, Nussmeier is looking really good. So yeah, so maybe which would make sense because one, it's in New Orleans and LSU's in Baton Rouge, and they're like hour and a half from each other. They're both in Louisiana, and Garrett Nussmeier's dad, of course, is the odds player. So I think they'll try to go after Garrett Nussmeier in the draft next year, not this year, but next. Yeah, because we'll see how Garrett Nussmeier does this year, though. That is probably final. Yeah, at his final year at LSU, unless something happens out of nowhere. There's that. It was NFC East. Cowboys. I think they're sticking with Dak Prescott. I don't know who else they go with. They might draft Quinn Ewers just as like a QB3 or QB2. So we'll see if that happens. Jalen Hurts will obviously stay at the Eagles. I mean, no question there. It'll be great if he came to the Saints with Kellen Moore. That's not going to happen. Commanders, they're sticking with Jane Daniels. Jane Daniels had one of the best rookie seasons of all time last year. I love Jane Daniels. He was at LSU. And as I know, I'm an LSU fan, a huge LSU fan. I'm LSU pillow back there. I love Jane Daniels, bro. One of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. And then here's the Giants. I know there's been rumors about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Giants, mainly because Aaron Rodgers probably wants to stay in the city of New York. Yeah, but there's that. I guess they could go after free agent potentially. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think it's either going to be get Aaron Rodgers or draft the QB, and I think they're going to draft the QB. I think they have like I think they have like a top five pick, I believe. Yeah, there are so many bad teams last year. I can't even keep track. There's so many good teams, but with that comes with so many bad teams. And I do think they're going to get Shedeur Sanders though. Shedeur Sanders was good at Colorado. I mean, of course, he was under his He was coached under his father, Deion Sanders. Um, for I think his whole for I think his whole college career, because of course he started at Jackson State where Deion Sanders originally coached at. So yeah, but I think Shedeur Sanders will be the new starting quarterback for the Giants, and I think it'll be a new era potentially for the Giants. We'll see. The Giants have just been historically bad last few years. They have one good season, and then they fell off again. Yeah. Moving on to the NFC North. Packers think they stick with Love. I think they love Jordan Love, so I think they're going to stick with Jordan Love. I mean, he's come off excuse me, he's come on the last few years, so I think it'll be good. I think the Bears will stick with Caleb Williams. We'll see if he improves under Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson's got a lot of potential to be a really good head coach. I mean, he was really, really good with the Lions, so we'll see. We'll see how he does with the Bears. Yeah. Seeing the Lions, I think the Lions will stick with Jared Goff. I mean, well, who else would they go with at that point? And the Vikings, they could keep Sam Darnold, which I think is actually the best option in my opinion. But they drafted JJ McCarthy for a reason, so I think they're gonna stick with JJ McCarthy as the quarterback. You know, we'll see if that pays out. Pays off though. I'm excited to see what JJ McCarthy's gonna do next season. I know it's technically his second year. This is true. This is like his true rookie season, though, if you think about it, because it's his first year actually starting. It's his true rookie season. It's technically not his rookie season. Yeah. NFC West, Seahawks. I have Geno Smith. I mean, we'll see how he does under Clint Kubiak as the new offensive coordinator. And he had show up potential with the Saints. Of course, he did have much. Of course, he did not have much to work with after the first few games because injuries for the Saints. But yeah, Cardinals. I think will stick with Kyler Murray. I don't know who else to go with. 49ers are sticking with Brock Purdy to restructure, or excuse me, they're giving him a new contract, I believe, or giving him a new deal, I think, something like that. The Rams, I know there's some rumblings about Stafford getting traded, but I think he stays there. I mean, there's rumors that he's going to get traded to like the Raiders, the Browns, the Giants. I think he stays in LA because I saw a report today that they're going to restructure his deal a bit. So yeah. Now moving on to the AFC South. Jaguars, I think they're sticking with Trevor Lawrence, but I do feel like Trevor Lawrence, if he doesn't perform well next year, might be in trouble. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he hasn't been terrible, but like he hasn't. There's been some moments for him, but yeah. But he has the best hair in the NFL, no doubt about that. Uh, Texans, I think will stick with CJ Stroud. I mean, he's been good. He's been really good. I mean, he had a great rookie season. He dropped off a little bit last year, but I feel like Bobby Slowick wasn't working out anymore. Yeah. I think the Colts, now this is a bold prediction that I'm about to say, but yes, they have Anthony Richardson already, but they want to give him someone to compete with. And there's a few quarterbacks out there that he could compete with. I think they go with a veteran. I actually think they're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to pick a veteran quarterback. It's either him or Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. I think Aaron Rodgers, I think will end up at the Colts. I mean, the Colts, I mean, Shane Steichen, since he's gotten there, he's been okay, I guess. I mean, it's 17 and 17. That's mid as it can get, but they had a few bright spots. Like his first year, they went 9-8, which is decent, I guess. They went 8-9 this year, but I think the Colts could be a better team next year. We'll see if they make any good moves in free agency. And I think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers as a new quarterback. I think the report's going to come last second potentially, and I think they're going to give Aaron Rodgers. I think he might spend his last days or his last few years at the Colts. And then once he retires, Anthony Richardson could be ready. So yeah, I think they'll give Anthony Richardson time to develop. Yeah, if they stick with Richardson, of course, which they will, I guess. Yeah. Titans, they had the first pick in the draft. Will Levis was not cutting it. I mean, Will Levis did good in college, but like the young man did not have his greatest moments last year. So I don't think they're going to pick him as a starter. Now there's rumors that like Abdul Carr potentially being the first pick. I think they actually go quarterback here. I think they're going to go with Cam Ward, who was really good at Miami. Cam Ward had a very had a very historical college football career. He was really good. He went to like a billion different places. It seemed like He went to I think he started off at Incarnate Word in Texas. And then he went to Oregon State, and then once they got left in the Pac-12 with them in Washington State, Ward transferred to Miami, not Miami, Ohio, obviously, but Miami, Florida. I think he went somewhere else too, potentially. I forgot in between that, but yeah. Cam Ward had a really good team last year. He actually did not technically opt out of his bowl game, even though he opted out the second half, but which I think honestly lost the game for Miami because their defense was horse crap last year. Literally, Cam Ward was in a similar situation as Jayden Daniels was, if you think about it. Miami had a really good offense last year, but a terrible defense. They're a ticking time bomb all year, it seemed like. Jayden Daniels in 2023 with LSU had an amazing offense, best in the freaking league. And the defense just sucked. That was what's holding LSU back from making the playoffs. I think if they had actually a functional defense, they would have made the playoffs. Just being honest with you. Yeah. So I think Cam Ward reminds me of that kind of situation. He actually ended up with the same record as LSU, ironically, 10-3. Well, 2024 Miami ended up with the same record as 2023 LSU. LSU wasn't had dropped off and went 9-4 this year or last season, I guess, if you're talking about, but yeah. Anyways, enough college football talk right now. I think Titans will get Cam Ward. I think it'll be maybe maybe a new start, maybe a refresh for the Titans, especially their new stadium's coming. Especially so I think it might be their last year in the stadium. Maybe they have one more after that. I don't know. With their new stadium coming, they gotta have a new quarterback. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, moving on. Yeah, AFC East. Bills obviously they go Josh Allen. Who else would they pick? He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He won MVP last year. Yeah. Patriots think they stick with Drake May. I mean, we'll see what happens with Joe Milton though. Might get traded somewhere. The Dolphins think we'll stick with Hawk Tua with Tua Tagovailoa. Hawk Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, I think they'll stick to Tagovailoa. I mean, as long as they can keep his head safe, then it'll be good. And then the Jets. Although nothing but Tua, I don't know if he does this already. Tua's got to wear that like protection around his helmet because he seems to get concussions a lot. Jets, the Jets, of course, are letting go of Aaron Rodgers. I don't see them drafting a quarterback. It just doesn't seem like it's in the cards this year. Um, so I think they will get a quarterback out of free agency. I think they're going to get a young quarterback. So Sam Darnold on the table, Justin Fields. Who else? Uh, would you consider Sam Darnold young at this point? I mean, he's relatively young, I guess. They could also try to go after like Jalen Milroe in the draft or Jackson Dart. I don't know. Or they could stick with Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis to fight it out. I think Jordan Travis deserves a second chance after his Florida State tenure got cut short, unfortunately, which actually left him out of the playoffs that year. Yeah. I think the Jets are going to get a quarterback out of free agency. I think they go with Justin Fields. I think Aaron Glenn will be looking for a young quarterback, and Aaron Glenn I think will be a good coach. It might take a few years because the Jets are one of those organizations that might take time to build, especially losing a lot of people out of free agency, like losing Lazard, I believe, and some of the other wide receivers. Potentially Garrett Wilson if he doesn't get the deal he wants and all that. I think they're going to go with Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I think that there's a second chance to be a starter. Um, and just last year, just it was kind of a weird year, kind of a transitional year. I think it was like more of a development year for him. Heck, I think Anthony Richardson's going to go through this year. Um, and I think he deserves a second chance after being at the Bears, which the Bears suck for all those years. Although I think Ben Johnson could bring some new life to that team. But, I think the Jets will go Justin Fields as a new starter. I think it'll be a new sign of life for the Jets because the Jets I literally have not made the playoffs since before I even started watching NFL regularly, which I started in 2015, so 10 years ago. Moving on, AFC North. Obviously, the Bengals sticking with Joe Burrow as long as he stays injury free, which he did last year. That's why he can come back player of the year. So yeah, I think the Bengals stick with Burrow. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. One of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, of course. course, Heisman winning trophy or Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from LSU, of course, and also won the national championship. Joe Burrow is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Him and Jay Daniels are my favorite in the NFL. It's the LSU biased, baby. Not just that, I've I've got connections with those quarterbacks through watching LSU for all those years. But yeah, Ravens. I think we'll go Lamar Jackson. Obviously, who else would they go with? Yeah, we got the Browns and the Steelers. The Steelers have a choice between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, or maybe they go with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Obviously, I said Justin Fields will go to the Jets, sorry, and Rodgers would go to the Colts. So I think they're going to stick with Russell Wilson. I think he's a good quarterback. He's just in a bad situation at Denver, which has gotten better since he left, ironically. But yeah. I think actually the Broncos and the Steelers are pretty much just even teams last year, for the most part. Yeah. I think they're sticking with Russell Wilson. I know he's older, but he's not that old. He's still got a few years left on him. And the Browns are an interesting one. Deshaun Watson's probably gonna be out next season because he got injured again. Plus, the allegations obviously get worse and worse, seems like. And that trade was just not good. They got put into cap HE double hockey stick. They can't like sign a big quarterback probably, like Matthew Stafford or something like that. They could draft one, which is very possible they could do. I knew for Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. I think they're actually going to go Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had a bad few weeks at the Falcons, which is what got him benched for Michael Penix. But we who did not. Let's be real. I think the Falcons that was the plan all along. To be honest with you, so I think Cousins will go to the Browns. I know they said uh Cousins would wind up being the backup for Penix at the Falcons. I don't think he's going to like that. So I think he's going to go to the Browns. Yeah. Last but not least, AFC West. Chiefs. I really need to tell you who's gonna be the start. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but is that not obvious enough to y'all? Anyways, starters will go Justin Herbert, Broncos with Bo Nix, and the Raiders. Tom Brady, of course, is the minority owner of the team now. Excuse me, golly. Um, so yeah, sorry. So Tom Brady will have the last say in who's the new quarterback. Pete Carroll's the new coach. Now, of course, there's potential for Russell Wilson to end up there because the Pete Carroll connection. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen. I forgot to mention for the Jets. Jets could also go for like Hendon Hooker too from the Lions, which if you remember in college football, he was really good at Tennessee. So yeah. Anyways, so I just have to worry about the Jets, but the Raiders. Um, Raiders could draft one. Sorry. What did that do? Um, sorry. Gotta get snot in my mouth. Anyways, Raiders. I mean, they can go. I don't know what pick they have in the draft. They could draft one. I think they're going to get a really good free agent, really good quarterback out of free agency, who redeemed his career last year, at least for the most part, after being the backup for the last few years. He really, he really came on, play with his chip, play with the chip on his shoulder all season. Sorry, I'm hyping this up really badly, but I think Sam Darnold's going to be the new star for the Raiders. Me personally, I think the Vikings should stick with Sam Darnold, but obviously they drafted JJ McCarthy, so that's kind of a weird situation there. I think Sam Darnold ends up with the Raiders. Raiders need a permanent quarterback, not Gardner Minshew, not Aiden O'Connell, not Desmond Ridder. No disrespect to those quarterbacks. I think they're all good in their ways, I guess, but like they're not really meant to be starters, in my opinion. I love Gardner Minshew's hair and all that, but I just don't see it happen in the starter. I think Gardner Minshew could end up at the Jets. You never know. Like the widest possibilities at the Jets. It seems like I don't know. But the Darnolds, let's call them the Darnolds, the Raiders. I think Sam Darnold will end up there. He deserves to be a starter after last season. After I think he did really, really good for the Vikings. So I think he deserves to be a franchise quarterback for a team. I mean, he won, I think, AP Comeback Player of the Year, or something like that. Honestly, I thought he's my pick to win Comeback Player of the Year, and I think he. But obviously Joe Burrow won it, and obviously I love Joe Burrow. But I think Sam Darnold def definitely was very close to winning Comeback Player of the Year. So yeah, yeah. But I'm glad Joe Burrow won it. Very, very happy for Joe Burrow since he's my favorite, one of my favorite quarterbacks out there. But yeah. Anyways, Raiders I think will stick with Sam Darnold, or excuse me, no, will get Sam Darnold. It's not like they've had Sam Darnold, but I think they'll get Sam Darnold for agency. I think Tom Brady would be happy. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. And yeah, that's the picks for next year. Here's my list if y'all want to see it. There you go. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. Please like and subscribe. Have a nice day and goodbye. See y'all next one. Peace.